Yeah, because it was funny.
What did we say?
That you fabricated questions and it's a misconduct.
I didn't.
Yeah, all the questions we're gonna answer, it's just guess. Because no one writes us.
Waiting for STEMinine is what it says.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
The pictures here.
That you fabricated questions.
That's gonna be super distracting
Yeah,
because it is actually behind, right?
Yeah, but that's...
Yeah, but we don't have to turn on this.
Right.
Yeah, we just do this,
Okay.
like this. Okay, so we don't have to listen to our voices. Okay, so welcome to the second installment of our podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
I know you... hello, Vika and Elizabeth.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Nice to see y'all.
It's kind of weird that we don't have the microphone this time.
Yeah,
It
but it
feels
also feels better.
Does it feel better?
Yeah, it feels like casual conversation. So next time you should get a mic that we don't have to pass around.
Well, yeah, we'll use a stand next time.
I felt more professional with a microphone.
So did
I don't even know if we're recording now.
No, we are.
Okay.
We're recording.
Okay.
So, hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to our last podcast episode. We promise we actually have some good content for you today.
What's the content?
It's more questions, and we have more answers.
Did you make up these questions yourself?
No, I didn't.
You probably did,
No,
right?
I didn't.
Fabrication is a misconduct in science, and we're not promoting it in any way.
No, I didn't make up any of the questions.
Maybe some of them.
If you guys are listening to this right now, we are also live streaming on YouTube. The girls, not me, Vika and Elizabeth, are pretty distracted. Maybe I'll turn down the brightness of the...
It's okay. Just
Okay.
leave it there.
Okay.
I like it. It's okay. It's 10 seconds behind, right?
I think so. Okay, guys, so back to the podcast. So next week we have some good interviews lined up for you for the podcast. We may or may not have recorded a few. We'll leave the audience to decide. But today we wanted to do another question and answer, hashtag Ask an Engineer, hashtag Ask a Scientist episode.
I really liked Ask Vika, you know. It gives it a personal touch.
Okay, we're rebranding Ask an Engineer and Ask Vika.
You can ask anything.
I feel like bad because you lump us as engineer and then you give Vika personality.
That's why I said
Yeah.
Okay, there's no satisfying either of you guys.
Okay, just ask us, I guess.
Okay, so one of the questions that I got recently from Ravina Patil on YouTube. How could I make this up, Elizabeth?
I don't know, it sounds like a name from a Harry Potter.
No. She's a real person. And she asked on YouTube.
That's a cool name then.
Yeah,
it's a cool name.
Do you want to know the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
She asked, how do you study for hard classes? So I have my own take on this, and I actually made a video about it, and then all of my friends were like, what the heck?
Why?
I can't do that, because,
Wait, what's your answer? I'm smart, so I don't have to
No,
study? Because I can do that.
I don't do art classes.
You don't do hard
I do.
classes.
I mean, I'm saying it just could be an answer, right?
Yeah, well, so what I said was, so this is my answer for what do you do to study for hard classes. Pretty much what I said was, like, after a certain subject in a class is taught, so for example, I'll use the second law of thermodynamics.
Mm-hmm.
After the second law is taught, so that everything doesn't pile up to the last minute, I go and I read the notes and I try to understand. And whatever I don't understand, I go to the textbook and I try to like read until I understand, and then I do the problems assigned for that chapter. Like, I don't wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
I do them all, like, pretty much, it's a lot of work, but then I actually understand what I'm doing, so that on the exam, I don't end up having to do, like, tons of problems.
That makes a lot of sense. I tried to do that the same, so if I had the...
But I never look at the answers, unless I'm really stuck.
Never do that.
I always look at the answer.
They also don't give you, like, in my class, the hard class that I had at ETH, for example, last semester was organic chemistry.
Uh-huh.
And, because I don't like it, you know, probably people know that already. Anyway, So I don't like it, and it was really hard for me because it's already like the highest level, so it's advanced course in master's program.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to look into it like every time. Every time there was a lecture, I tried to do problem set right away after that, so it keeps you like fresh. But still, it was super tough. So at the end, I ended up postponing exam.
No!
Yes, till next semester. But also, the good idea is that if you have a hard exam and you know it's gonna be hard, you really have to at least start preparing really for longer time, like before, you know.
Yeah, but the thing
in
is, like,
advance.
when you do really broad courses, like organic chemistry is really broad,
but
thermodynamics
that
is really
was-
broad, but like you need
There's
a
very
lot of,
specific organic chemistry courses.
like for broad courses, you need a lot of time to just get the concepts. Like, I understand it's specific,
That was
but like
already
the
very
concepts are broad. It's a broad understanding.
No, actually, it was like that one was advanced course, so it's really, really narrow and specific, but you have a lot of stuff to memorize.
Yeah, that's
And
what
the
I meant
best thing
is
to
broad.
memorize is actually you have to start from before, because memory just doesn't work that way. But you have to really start in advance and kind of
Yeah.
like do it every day. Also, the thing is,
But like math courses, you can get by a math course by learning like 10 fundamental equations, but
Yeah.
you can't get through thermodynamics or
but there are also
organic
some tricks
chemistry by just learning.
in math. There are sometimes some tricks that you don't know, like when you try to derive something, and there is one trick that you have to know. For example, I don't know. But yeah. I
Like
guess
some things in like advanced courses are so counterintuitive. How do you pronounce the word?
Wait, what?
Like they're not non-obvious.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like you can't in any way like derive it by yourself. You need to like memorize it, and that's
Yeah.
very time consuming. That's why you need to start early.
it depends also. For different people, that comes like different. For example, I didn't do a lot of organic chemistry back in my bachelor's, and I didn't have it as this like special subject. So advanced course was really hard for me because I also had to go back maybe a bit, and I didn't know, because advanced course we did really like recent science, so we looked into papers that are like 1-2 years old, so
Mhm.
really, really recent stuff. And since I was not following it a lot, some people that come from organic chemistry background might have found it a bit easier. So you have to really first of all understand what is your relationship with this course that you're making.
Yeah.
So why is it hard? Is it hard is it hard to everyone, or is it just hard for you? And then maybe if it's just hard for you, and some people, you have like friends that have better knowledge in that, maybe you should team up with them, because that always helps if you study like in pair or I don't know together. Then it's easier because you kind of like highlight stuff that one person knows and the other doesn't, and it's always better when you like, because when you just read stuff again and again, you read the lecture script and it's not really helpful. When you start discussing, you actually reuse the knowledge and you like strengthen the links.
I feel
between
the total
knowledge.
opposite. I can't study with other people.
I guess
It needs to come from within for me. Like I
Okay.
can't get it explained
Yeah, but
by someone
I
else.
think that's the next step. So when I have all the stuff, like when I have basic stuff like set up, I'll go to someone and talk to someone about stuff. So that always helps me, especially explaining something to someone. I guess that's when you're able to explain something, you really know that it's gonna be okay. I guess.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I agree. It's just that like I made a video about this, and then all my friends were like, "That's insane. That's too much work." And I was like, "Whoa."
But what do you do? You cannot cram in like. Well, you can in principle.
Well, that's what
cram-
most people do. They cram at the last minute, whereas I just like do a little bit, and then at the exams, like I review everything, but I don't have to learn the second law.
Exactly. Exactly. I guess it's really person specific, and it's not. It's just some methods are more stressful. Like cramming is really stressful.
Mhm.
Because you get stressed if you learn the last minute, you don't know if you really know that well or not, and I mean,
I don't
exams
know.
always
I'm just a
stress.
control addict. I wouldn't function if I had like 2 days to learn everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
just
true.
like 99% of the time, if I had to like learn something in 2 days, I'll be just 99% of the time just stressing out about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So-
true.
The thing is, like, I'd rather not study the day before the exam and do other stuff. Well, a lot of people just cram the day before the exam. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I think everything we said was like really good information. Pretty much the first thing I said was right, and all of my friends were wrong. Is what we.
I guess
Like,
it's
but
just
did your friends actually finish their bachelor's, or
They're in their
drop
masters.
out?
They're still doing it.
Okay.
No, okay. And so the second question that I got recently was, why as an engineer, but we can ask Vika too. Why, as an engineer, did we decide to do PhDs?
I can just drink tea.
I'm not doing a PhD yet. I'm not.
Oh, oops, I guess that's...
Okay,
yet.
fine. Well,
Not
then
yet.
let's repurpose it, because a lot of people don't know, should I do a PhD? Should I go into industry?
Yeah.
Should I do a master's? Like, what do I do? Like, a lot of people don't know what to do, so...
I guess this is like, this is, should I eat apple for breakfast? Should I eat banana for breakfast? That's I feel the same kind of problem.
What?
I don't understand.
Because this is what you really want. Some people really want to do PhD, some people really want to go to industry. And that's not something that someone should tell you what to do, right?
But I think the problem is that people don't know. Sorry, I'm just eating a cookie.
It's really good.
They're really good. I think that some people just don't know whether they should do a PhD.
Uh-huh.
But like, I feel like no one should do a PhD.
Exactly,
You should do a PhD because you want to do a PhD.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't feel obligated to do a PhD because, like, PhD, you go into really detailed things, and if you're not interested, then
Also,
it's
really-
gonna be really heavy for
Really
you.
depends on the country. Like, I think here in Switzerland, it's kind of better for your career if you do PhD, and then you can go higher in terms of career ladder.
Yeah, but if you don't want it, like,
I think
are you
you
just
can-
gonna do it out of career?
Some people,
reasons.
some companies, I think they don't want people with PhD because they think they're too overqualified.
Yeah.
So some people prefer master students because you can still teach them and
Yeah,
you don't have to pay them as much as PhD.
that's true.
But then I feel like there's positions in industry where you can do quite specific things. Like, you can work with quite specific R&D. You can
Sure.
get, if you, I don't know, get into a trainee program and then get into an R&D department, you can do quite specific things without actually doing the PhD. Or you can also have the option to do, I think it's in all countries, you can do an industrial PhD that you actually like do with support from a company.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get kind of both. So I think it's rather a fact, I think you should rather consider what you want to do instead of how you do it. Like, when I started in engineering, I was like, I'm never doing a PhD, it's so boring, like, who does a PhD? But like now, when I'm in my thesis and I'm doing quite specific things, I'm really starting to grow an interest in becoming a specialist at something, and I'm starting to considering a PhD. So just making a matter of like what you're interested in.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that like some people. So also important thing not to feel that you wasted your time. So for example, let's say you thought that doing PhD is a good idea, so you kind of like started PhD, but you started not liking it. So what would you do? Do you drop it or do you continue and like?
Is it common to drop PhDs? I know one person who did it.
It's not really.
I know
yes.
one person.
Yeah.
I know one
I'm
person that
zero.
couldn't finish because his prof abandoned him.
Wow. Shit.
Yeah, but that's because his prof went crazy.
Yeah, I think it's also really important to find a good team, because you're gonna do something really specific, you're gonna spend a lot of time in it, you're gonna dig your soul into, I don't know, something that no one else in the world cares about. And I think it's very important to have like the right people around you.
I think it's really topic dependent. So it really depends. First of all, which group you get. Some groups and some topics are just like, you just do stuff and then at the end of the PhD you're done and it's done, right? And some fields are so competitive that once you start research, you get all your head in the research. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's really like depends. So you have to, I guess some people already feel what they want. So if you've done masters and you've probably done some research projects or something like that, you probably should know how it feels. And also if you've done your masters, in most of the cases, if you're an engineer, you've done also industry internship, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like
I
a
haven't.
PhD is like, first of all, you have to like research. Like it's like a job, and you have to like it. Like
No,
You have to be curious.
Yeah, you have to. It's like, do you like research? Do you like the topic? Do you like the prof? Do you like the group? Because it's gonna be your life for like 4 years, hopefully,
Yes,
not more.
yes, that's
And then like, I feel like sometimes there's this, like, separation between like, oh, then my life is gonna start when I'm done education. But like a PhD is like already when you're
it's your life all
yeah,
the
it's
time,
already so it's like you just have to accept it. Like, do you like doing the work? do you want to do it, or do you just want to get a PhD because or do you need it? Like, do you need a PhD? If you don't like it and you don't need it, then...
Yeah. Also, there might be concerns, for example, how do you approach work? Because if you work in the industry, that means you have 9-to-5 job, and that's it. And you don't have to care about it afterwards. But whilst you do PhD, it's let's face it, it's pretty tough sometimes and challenging and requires some resources from you, some extra resources. So you just have to feel if you like it.
Please keep in mind, none of us have our PhDs.
I will start my PhD in February.
I know, I'm starting too.
I think that's...
But I already have, I'm interacting in my group with PhD,
yeah,
so I
too.
see what's happening.
Yeah.
But I think it's a myth that, PhD is much harder than industry. I think PhD is much harder than a trainee program. But if you start on a really, research, if you start on a real position in industry, I don't, both my parents are in industry, and they get calls on Christmas Eve every year. They can't really leave work. But I feel like maybe the responsibility lies on you, as a one person, in a PhD more compared to industry, because in industry it's more in the group, maybe on the department.
I guess you just do your part. Whilst in PhD you have to sometimes kind of be your own boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also in
you have
PhD,
to be very independent.
Yeah, you have to be independent, and you have to be because in industry you just do your part, and sometimes you don't really have to do a lot of thinking. So you creative thinking or something.
Yeah, you have to be a good decision maker when you're a PhD, because you're your own boss.
Yeah, so you really have to solve and be able of solving problems that people in industry might not encounter, for example.
Yeah. No, what I think is nice with why I'm considering going to industry and maybe going to a trainee program is that gives me the opportunity to be a manager.
Yeah.
And I feel like after being in...
Just become a professor.
No, but after...
be a manager.
But after being in school this long, we have without knowing it, we have practiced our managing skills a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like a lot of things I've done in uni would really help me to become a decent manager. And also probably from my background when I had a horse stable and I was managing the horses. So I feel like that's something I would really enjoy and something that I wouldn't get from a PhD.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the biggest difference I see. You can go to industry and do something very specialized and very detailed, and you can have a lot of pressure on you, but the biggest difference is your possibility to manage.
Also in industry you can shift to something else, I don't know, product development, working with clients.
Yeah.
So it's much more. Whilst in PhD, you're probably not going to interact with so many people, let's face it. You're going to interact with more machines or whatever instruments than with people.
Yeah, I heard from a friend who works with electrical components, and he did his PhD, and his PhD was literally reduce the resistance with 10%. And then he did that, and he went to industry and look, I reduced the resistance with 10%. And the industry was like, that's amazing, but we want devices that works below 10 degrees Celsius. We're not gonna... this is so uninteresting to us because we can only use it in France and Spain.
So what do you mean? You mean
sometimes research can be so specific. It depends on what do you want to do, what do you want to contribute, because sometimes research can be so specific. Some projects can be so specific.
True. That reminds me of an awesome paper that I've seen about
I found a paper whether or not the Loch Ness monster exists.
I found a better paper. It was published in a journal of soft matter, so get ready. And yeah, I mean, they went to the zoo and taking pictures of animals,
feces.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're just trying to study some dynamics or stuff like that on that, and it's so hilarious. Honestly,
the dynamics.
Yeah, or I don't know, what they study is some properties, I guess, or dynamics of that stuff, and it's just whoa, that research got money. So sometimes it's pretty funny,
So, but the thing is, if your goal is to I don't know, make thesis research, then maybe you have a bigger shot to find that in academia.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Usually an industry funds something. So maybe an industry funded that research.
Not sure. I have to look up what was the funding.
Wow.
But this is just the fact that this is an actual piece of... This is, a paper. I saw it when And
with your own eyes.
Exactly.
We should have a paper club sometime, like bring our favorite paper.
No.
Exactly.
No.
That's actually my top paper. You know?
Is it because all of your papers are about turbines and
You
you
don't
know
have
no
to
one
bring the
will
paper
enjoy
from
it?
your field. Like, let's face it, I don't work with poop, but I like that paper just because it's hilarious.
What was the other paper the one that was co-authored by a cat?
I've never heard of that, but yeah, I remember.
I recall this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I tagged you guys on it on Facebook. I think it was like
Oh,
this
it
cat
was
walked on
just
the
a meme.
keyboard. Yeah.
JK,
Yeah.
it was just
no,
a
but
meme.
it's real, but it wasn't me. It was made into a meme.
So it was real, but a meme.
A real
Memes
meme.
are real. What are you talking about?
Okay, trying to think of another question that was asked to me recently without...
Fabricating.
Or just trying to fabricate a question in your mind.
No, I mean...
You have a fake Facebook account that writes questions. Oh no!
It's not Jessica Jursko, it's Peshika Jursko.
That was hilarious. You guys are so funny.
Yeah.
So I guess we can...
Should we actually? It doesn't really matter, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't. One person is watching.
Is it mom?
Mom? No, we have to argue whose mom is that.
It's my mom.
Okay, sorry live stream. We're just trying to find another question.
I mean, sorry, one person watching us.
If you have a question, you can write it right now and we will answer it.
Like, just maybe. I mean, this is really like nice atmosphere. There's
Right
only
here.
4 of
May I
us.
ask you a question? How do you... Look, should I get a PhD?
Oh.
Honestly, I don't know. It makes me so angry to see people asking those questions. Like, I understand where the questions are coming from, but it's just. You can
How
figure
do
it
you
out yourself.
overcome failure or setback and develop that resilient mindset?
But I never
You
had
just
a
do it.
setback.
You just overcome and develop.
I want to hear your perspective and experiences with this topic.
But I never had a real setback.
You just overcome. You know, it gets better with time. I don't know, but that's true. You just like work. Maybe so. Okay, my advice
Look,
will be
Elizabeth
work
is
more.
using her phone
No,
in the live
I'm-
stream.
No, you know what I'm
Is it
doing?
what
I'm
people do?
posting on my Instagram that we're doing a live stream.
Yeah, maybe more people will come then.
I'm actually like contributing. I'm not like
Okay.
just looking at cats.
So anyway, the question was.
The next question is by ArtToy500 on YouTube.
Cool
Be
name.
careful with reading those names, you know. Sometimes you never know. It's like in The Simpsons.
Like
When-
ICUP.
Exactly.
I cup.
Exactly.
Okay, she says, oh, she. I don't know, I just assumed
No.
our toy 500's gender.
Okay.
They say, how do you overcome failure or setback and develop that resilient mindset? I know there's a plethora of information on this topic, but I wanted to hear your perspective and experiences with this topic. Elizabeth, what do you do when you fail?
I never fail.
Oh.
No, the thing is like I'm having my last exam in my master's now in this week, and I'm just so afraid that this will be my first failure.
Yeah, but you know, I was so afraid of failing a class in my bachelor's, and actually when I thought I failed turbulent flows here in my master's, and then I was like, honestly, it doesn't even matter. Like in 5 years, it's not gonna
Yeah.
matter.
True. Yeah, that's true.
I think it's like at my uni, like it's only like 20% that goes out without failing anything, or maybe less.
But it's like,
Also,
it's just like the failing is just like an irrational fear because it's.
Yeah.
Failing is something fabricated by humans.
Whoa.
Is it? Can you expand on that?
No, but like
No,
no,
yeah.
yeah. So someone decides a bar, like if you do this, if you do that, you
Yeah,
pass a fail.
that's true.
The thing is, you can know everything in the course, and then they don't ask you. Like you can know everything
Yeah.
about one thing, and they ask you like the wrong things. So that's why I always know everything.
But I mean, it's like if you fail, regardless in what, it's just. I mean, it just happens. You have to just accept it and continue working.
What
you want.
actually, what quite often happens to me is that in my school in Stockholm, I have these kind of midterms or like preparatory exams, like warm-up exams, and I quite often fail those or like hand-in assignments.
Mm-hmm.
But that's quite nice because then I'm very aware of what I need to learn before the real exam.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if I would get score all correct on the preparatory things,
then you wouldn't prepare for the
Yes.
final, and then you'd fail.
So I think I'd rather see it as like a motivation than like than that I let it kill me.
Yeah, of course. I actually also think that my profs in my bachelor's like on purpose made the midterms super hard.
Yeah, I think so too.
So then you would work harder, and then they like sort of gave like an easier final.
Yeah, or like very similar.
I didn't have midterms, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. But I think that's a quite good concept because it motivates students to start earlier, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I like midterms. I mean, I don't like midterms, but you know what I mean. Like,
but sometimes, I don't know if it's only me, but I'm a very competitive person. I guess I got it from like being in sports for so long. But like, I really enjoy going into the exam. Like, I have my exam song. I walk in.
What's your exam song?
It's Tim Berg's Seek Bromance.
Okay, so we got it.
Can you sing it? What is
No,
it?
it's like instrumental house.
The first advice for a successful exam: have your exam song.
Yeah,
have your exam song.
I don't have mine, and I hope I did my last exam last week, so I don't have to have any anymore. You know? Maybe if I'll be a professor one day, then I'll have my exam song.
And you'll play it during the exam
or
for your
before,
students,
right before the exam, like something motivational, like the Eye of the Tiger. What was it? And or the. Yeah, whatever. I'll figure it out,
But like this song for me, every time me and my mom went to horse competition, we always pumped this one in there.
I want you to.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay, no.
Yeah, it's really motivating.
But we're scrapping our intro music and using that.
No, but like me and my mom started like headbanging, and she was driving with like 3 horses in the back and like headbanging to like house music, and then
I feel like this is only in Sweden.
Yeah, but I get yes. like I get so good feelings. It's Avicii who made it actually. His name is Tim Berg. Either way, I get so good feelings from this song, so I just walk in
He's Scandinavian.
Yeah, he's
right?
Swedish.
Ah.
And I feel so good when I go to the exam and listen. It's like my feel-good song.
I'm both ways. Sometimes I go into exam and I'm like, bring it on, like, I'm gonna crush you. And then other times I'm like, please.
I just want to be like 2 hours ahead so it's done and I'm like in my bed.
I'm like, please, just,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Some exams are just like, you're really confident in what you're doing, but I guess for me it's, I don't know. I'm just happy to be done with all my courses for I hope forever.
Yeah. No, but like, back to your experiences overcoming failure. Like, for me,
get up in the morning from the bed. Like a general advice, can be really hard to overcome. It could be not like failure, for example, you failed some exam, or it could be anything, right? Considered.
Yeah, no, like,
you failed yourself.
Yeah. Like, I honestly, like, if I think back to my life, I don't even remember if I've ever failed anything, because I think it's like a mindset. You look at something and like, so the way I look at things is like, it's a learning experience. Like, yeah, okay, something crappy happened. I don't look at it as a fail. I think,
maybe
like,
you start looking at it as a fail, but then you have to kind of like change the thing.
You change your mindset, exactly. Like, okay, like, this is in the past. It's not gonna happen again.
Yeah, exactly.
And how do I change it so that it doesn't happen again? Like, the worst thing you can do is dwell on something.
No, I think you should take some time to reflect on it, to be able to be fair to yourself. Was I unprepared? Was I unlucky? Did I have a fever that day? Like, why did I fail?
But
analyze
it's really
it.
hard
But don't think too much about it.
Yeah, you shouldn't overthink it, because then it's really getting could get really hard into your head.
But you should analyze it so you don't make the same mistake twice, I would say. Okay, you can't really, if you had a flu, you can't really control if you get the flu one more time. But if you was too unprepared, just take that in consideration, make a mental note, and just be better the next time.
Yeah.
Use it as a learning experience.
It's really most important that you are happy with yourself afterwards. That even if you kind of, for example, didn't score as good score as you wanted, but you're still happy with yourself.
But
Because some people, if they don't pass like with high grade, they're gonna consider it failure or something.
Yeah,
like
but
this.
then again, what's
So-
the failure? What, like, did
Exactly.
you fail on the bar? Did you fail on yourself? Like that?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
could
did
be
you
like
fail, like-
internal failure.
Yeah, like, is it an internal failure or is it against society? Like, some people would say, dropping out of university is, like, some people would see that as a failure.
Yeah.
But, like,
Maybe it wasn't for you.
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why does everyone have to conform to these, like, rules set by society?
Maybe there's other way you can express your engineering mind without passing
Yeah,
these
like for
made-up bars.
example, this guy on YouTube. His name's Colin Fursey, I think.
Oh.
He was a plumber
Mhm.
from Britain, and he started making this crazy YouTube videos, like building all the funny machines and like, I don't know. For example, he built like from the X-Men. There was one superhero who was
Yeah.
freezing stuff, and he
But it's like
built
Simone.
like a.
With
That's
the
like
crazy-
Simone
yeah,
Garrett's,
with crazy
yeah.
robots. She started engineering, but she dropped out, and she's
And he didn't even go to
Yeah.
college, I think.
Yeah, but Simone, she was in engineering.
engineering physics, and she dropped out, and she's so cool. She built like also these crazy robots.
And she
Yeah.
puts them, and she has, like, YouTube videos, like,
Was
Yeah.
it the robot hands that was?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's called Shitty Robots or something
That's awesome.
like that. But yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, but back to, first define
Back to
failure.
reality.
Yeah.
First define failure, then actually assess how you failed
Yeah.
and how you can improve for the future, and then forget about it.
Or
Like,
change your
yeah.
mindset and start seeing it as not a failure, but like
Yeah.
something else. So
I'm
a
trying to,
door that opened for you.
yeah, like, I'm trying to think of a time I failed so that I can give an example, but I think I forgot them all because it literally, like, you can't dwell on it because it doesn't matter in 5
Yeah.
years.
But I
Like, right now, like, oh, I'll tell you, this is, like, ridiculous, but I applied to be a TED fellow.
yeah.
What's that?
TED Talk.
It's like to give a TED talk, but like they only give TED talks to like the craziest, best people on the planet. So I applied to be a fellow, so they let you talk for 3 minutes, and it was this huge application, and I applied, and I was like so convinced I was gonna get it, and I didn't get it.
What
I
did
got
you
an
wanna
email.
talk
They were
about?
like, "Screw you."
What did you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about STEMinine.
No. Okay.
But I think it's important to not get angry at other people too.
No. But so I got that email, and I didn't feel like I failed because I still tried, I still applied,
Yeah.
and the other thing is that
You
like
didn't lose it. You lost an hour of your life, 2 hours.
yeah, like many hours.
Okay.
Yeah, but whatever. Like it was still a good learning experience to like do the application, but not. I didn't feel like I failed because like there's so many more factors.
But-
Like there's so many factors you can consider. Like it doesn't mean that I wasn't good enough. It just means that like this year there were a lot more people that were better that applied.
But when you first read the question, I also got struck by the feeling that I've never failed anything. But now when I actually think about it, I failed so many midterms.
Yeah.
But since I managed to pull myself together and figure out what I should change, they're not seen to me as failures anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's really like I'm trying to think of stuff that happened to me, and really you can find a failure in literally anything. Literally anything you did. It's gonna look like a failure from some perspective.
I just got struck by the thought maybe they can't hear me because I'm like half a meter away from you, so maybe there would be
No,
like
it's actually okay.
awkward breaks.
No, I think
I guess
I
it's
think
okay.
you can
Okay.
hear. Yeah.
I'm here anyway. Hi.
This is Leslie. Yeah.
That would be a failure.
Yeah. Or like I failed the live stream last week, but like no one
Well, I
cared,
mean,
and also I don't think anyone is
I
listening
think
on
if we actually failed this one too. How many people listening?
I feel at my uni, actually, the first mathematics course, I think around between 40 and 20% pass it. And I think they have it like that because they want to sort out who will continue to keep like trying or who will give up. Because the people that will give up are probably not ready for engineering yet.
Yeah.
Because some people will others will just retake the exam and pass it and continue.
I'm just gonna text my flatmate because he really wanted to look.
I'm like
to watch
giving
our-
Vika the
to
death
watch our
stare.
Yeah, I
how
know, I'm
we're
so sorry.
like
Are you failing on
recording a podcast and live streaming, and she's texting.
But
So
that's-
rude.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
That's also something when you're trying, like we're trying this podcast thing, maybe it will work out, maybe it won't.
It will.
Okay.
Please sponsor us.
Yeah, but like I don't know if we will consider it a failure if like just my mom and my dad and maybe your parents will
No.
get it.
Or random creep on it.
It won't be because what was the name that I said? Joy Toy 500.
No,
No,
I think it was
I don't
something
know.
else.
Joy Toy.
Our Art Toy.
Art
Art Toy
Toy.
500 is gonna get an answer to their question now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe now they're gonna go into engineering or science.
I think we should stop this, like,
Engineering
Separation.
bias.
Yeah, it's like...
But saying maybe they'll go into STEM sounds so bad.
Yeah. Why?
Stem cells.
What?
You don't know what stem cells?
No,
Yeah, we
do.
do.
Okay.
It's just
But like people have very twisted.
stem cells.
Yeah, but people have very twisted thoughts about stem cells. So I guess like
Why?
Because it's like from unborn babies, right?
Yeah.
What? Wait a second. Wait, hold on that. What are you talking about? I mean, it's like cells that are actually...
They're not
Undeveloped.
assigned yet.
They can
Yeah.
proliferate into anything, right?
Yeah, but that means it has
Yeah.
to be an unborn baby.
That's not... I mean,
Like, once the baby is born, all the cells are assigned.
not born, I guess. Right? Like, even before that. So
Yeah.
it has...
So it's unborn.
We need a
Wait a
biologist.
minute. Yes,
we
it's
need a
important.
fourth
And also-
person. Bring your own mic.
Yeah, it's like you have several steps in the forming of the... how's it called? I just don't know English terms for this stuff. So,
Say
sorry.
it по-русски.
That's okay. It's okay.
Was
I
that
don't know.
Baruski? Is that in German? No, in
No, it's
Russian.
in Russian.
Russian.
Barushki.
That was good.
I want
Good enough.
Elizabeth to learn Russian so
We're-
that she can speak Russian in a Swedish accent.
We have a song in Sweden. Okay, this is off topic, but like we have a song in Sweden that is for like kids.
This
and
is for our special for 2 viewers.
But the thing
Thank
is,
you
like,
for watching.
we pretend to sing like in Russian. So we sing like Apuski duski, Apuski Mani Vityatski, Dasimski duski.
That actually doesn't sound like
It does. I
I
think
mean,
it sounds. You
You
can see me eating in the live stream. Okay.
No one cares. Our 2 viewers really don't care.
Maybe
for
they're
the
like, you know, those people that stream like Korean girls eating food. Maybe they just were looking for that. And then I'm gonna take a cookie for that.
Really creepy though.
Right? Is this like Christmas cookie? It's like a seahorse.
It is.
Oh, someone asked a question.
I'm also in chemical engineering.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Wait.
We have a
Hi.
question. This is so exciting.
Okay, I'm gonna
I'm in chemical
Well, there are
engineering.
so many people. 2 at least.
sign in to chat.
Mhm.
Oh, damn.
What?
What's up?
Wow.
Did you just kill our live stream?
No.
You did. You just killed our live stream.
No, it's still streaming.
Just when we had it all. Just when we had all those 2 viewers.
Oh shit.
No, we're never gonna go back to the top again. You know, once you fall, this is our chance to overcome the failure. You know. Well, maybe it's still
Everyone
streaming.
started typing and I said no.
I just want cookies. I don't care about.
Oh no, it's still.
Yeah,
It's still
that's what I'm
streaming.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's still streaming. It's just freaked out.
Oh.
Okay. Questions.
No,
So
there's
what
no
are the
questions.
It's just statements like, hi, I'm doing this, hi, I'm doing that.
What would be the hardest signature? Does that supposed to mean? Tell us.
Like, yes, you're native. Can you...
Message retracted.
If someone just delete the message, well, why not? You can do that. We don't have net neutrality yet, you know.
Net neutrality.
What are your thoughts on net neutrality?
I don't know.
It's really bad, right?
I've heard so much different standpoints.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think it's fair that like Netflix should pay more.
but also it's pretty bad because, for example, if you have, if your provider, for example, has a contract with, let's say, Amazon instead of Netflix, then you have to pay more to get Netflix.
Yeah.
So that's pretty stupid. I think that's pretty
Yeah, but I feel like it should be more data should be put on like, I don't know, getting the news and stuff. Than that my neighbor got to see Netflix. Well,
3 people are watching. At one point we had 4. Okay, let's go back to...
The other person failed on watching our live show.
Who failed?
The person who isn't the 4th person anymore.
So you have to overcome it.
We have to
Wonder
analyze
how
it.
you're gonna do that.
Why did she leave? Were we too boring?
Okay. Is there any question, actually?
So what were we just talking about?
Failure.
So do we have anything else to say about failure?
I don't, actually.
I got some insights in my... I never considered myself as a person that had failed stuff, but I have, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
There's no way and that you can be perfect, and you just need to get over it and keep trying your best. And your best is literally all you can do.
I think sometimes it's also important to reflect on how far you've come.
Yeah.
Now I'm at the point I thought that I maybe get to when I started studying. I was like, maybe I will actually pass all of these obstacles along the way.
I never thought I'm going to go to ETH.
Really?
I never thought I was going to graduate
Mika.
from ETH.
I never thought I was going to
Never
pass my
saw
first
it even
exam.
in my dreams, so...
In another episode, we should talk about how we got into ETH.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are interested in that.
Yeah.
But not this episode, so wait till the next one.
Teaser!
No, but what was the last thing I said?
Yeah.
I said, it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. It happens. It's a natural process. You cannot. You just have to see it a bit differently. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like as long as you think it's fun, as long as you feel like you're somewhat developing,
Question.
don't be bothered by
What's
not
better,
passing
MBA or Masters? We don't know because
Master of Business and Administration.
But Elizabeth might have some thoughts on that.
No,
okay,
she's
so
keen
girls started to
into
freak
men.
out. Okay, so girls started to freak out because we got a question in the live stream. So the question is from around the global. What's better, MBA or Masters? That's not a question.
We previously discussed... No, seriously. We previously discussed whether one should go for a PhD or not.
Yeah.
And I think this is the same kind of question. What I've known that people done, and what I've seen becomes very successful if you want to be successful in industry, is that you take your Masters, then enters like a trainee program or one of the big companies like ABB, Siemens,
And then do MBA?
and then they will send you off to do an MBA,
Yeah.
because if they think you're on talent in
Yeah,
management, they will want to have a proof
I
of your
agree. I
skills.
see it as a actually consecutive process, so
Wait,
it's not
pause.
like a separate thing.
Let's try looking at the camera so that they maybe feel more like we're...
Okay, let's not make
We're like in science. We don't like interacting with people. We're like,
So keep going.
So yeah, I think it's actually a consecutive process. It doesn't mean that you have to do either that or that. You can do both.
Mhm.
I think masters is like really kind of
I think you need a master's
Yes.
unless you're in the US.
yeah. I mean yeah. So I guess masters is like if we're talking about Europe, it's a natural step after your bachelor's. Rarely, actually, if we're talking about Switzerland, rarely any people don't do their masters after bachelor's.
I don't know anyone who have gone straight from like engineering or science bachelor's to a master of business and administration, because like if you're gonna do the jump from technology and science to business and administration, I think you need to get some insight in a company to...
This also depends on your background and your goals. So if you really want to go into management, maybe it actually makes sense to do masters right in management.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
So
think...
it's really what you're interested in.
I mean, yeah, I think like an MBA, mainly companies pay for those. Because, like, you start off as, like, some sort of project, like,
Yeah.
engineer, like, low-line design engineer.
Yeah.
And then they, like, you work for years, and then they want to promote you.
Yeah.
And they promote you once you, like, and once they promote you, they say, okay, but to do this managerial position, you need a master's.
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish with that question. I see very interesting question down there.
So,
Thank you,
Basically-
Gabriella G, for this question.
Okay, wait,
but-
so let's wrap up this question
Okay.
first. So basically, MBA, make a company pay for it. Like, you don't need, like, I don't think you should go and get an MBA.
And
Like,
I think also if you apply for a company, write in your cover letter that my goal is that within 5 years I want to have managing projects. I want to start my MBA and I want to be a senior manager, because these kind of companies really want to promote ambitious people. People
Yeah.
that are willing to go the extra step, willing to move abroad for education, willing to do everything to grow within the company, because of today's trend to jump between companies. Companies are really interested in people who are willing to make a commitment.
yeah, that's like the number one thing. It's like, companies don't want to invest in someone that's gonna leave in like a
Yeah.
few years. They want to invest in someone that's gonna like dedicate their life to the company. So right off the bat,
Sell
when you
their souls
Just-
to the devil.
So, like, right off the bat, if you go to the interview and, like, if you tell them, like, if they say, okay, do you have any questions for me? This is where you say, yes, what sort of developmental opportunities do you have?
Yeah.
Like, what sort of employee developmental opportunities do you have? You be clear on your career goals and you say, in the future, I want to,
Yeah.
like, work for your company and I want to work as a manager or as this. I want to get there. I want to commit to you guys, but I want to know if you guys can commit to me or something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
basically show them that you're ambitious to stay with them and that, like, and if they can, like, invest back into you. So that's what I would say about getting an MBA. And then you get a master's for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you...
But I feel like if you want to get to those companies that offer these kinds of MBAs, you need a master.
Yeah, I feel that too.
It's like Siemens and ABB.
No. That, like, in Canada...
Yeah, but
But
Northern
that really depends,
America is a
right?
bit different.
I mean-
Because
Yeah,
you
but
have to
maybe these people are
specify.
from North America.
Yeah.
We should answer the question, look.
Okay.
We should answer the question. Gabriella, I'm really feeling for you.
Okay, so, Vika,
Yes.
let Gabriella know that we're...
Okay, so yeah, this is a very good question, I think. And Gabriella G wants to know what could be a great line of investigation for chemical engineering.
I'm in chemical engineering.
Yeah, she is, so she can answer. And Gabriella's in the first year, and she has to make a project at the end.
I feel like
Best time.
Okay,
The
so
first year.
Gabriella, I'm gonna let Vika and Elizabeth
you can
answer
start.
this
You
question
can start.
because they're both in chemistry.
I feel like you shouldn't consider what society wants.
First
or-
of all, I think your university matters. Like, what is your university best off, I guess? So we're talking about the academical project, so in a research group, or is it in the industry? So you have to figure out what's the closest proximity. So what are people good at in your university or in your region, there are some companies that are good at.
I would say start what you're good at, because if it's your first project, you need to build confidence.
No,
Because I had my first project in something that I wasn't really related to, but it was a really hot topic at the time.
Mhm.
And I just felt so disconnected during my entire internship there. I just felt like this is nothing...
What about challenges? You have
No,
to
but
throw
I wasn't
yourself
interested in it.
challenge
It's
now
not
and
a
then.
challenge if you're not interested in it.
Okay.
If it's hard and you're interested in it, then it's a challenge.
Okay.
Like, I
I
wouldn't
see.
go into electrical engineering
Yeah.
because I don't like it.
I guess find something that is like a crossover of both. So
Yeah.
you're interested and
that they can offer it.
there's a good group, because it's
Yeah.
always good if to learn from the best, from the
Yeah.
experts. So what people are actually best at. And maybe we can throw some interesting hot topics right now in chemical engineering. What
No,
do you think?
I'm in batteries, but I've previously been doing internships in nanoparticles for insulating materials and catalysis.
Yeah, nano is a hot topic.
Yeah,
Right.
everything that's nano. But then we'll find something smaller, and then we'll be like, ah.
Yes, also environmental engineering is
Yeah.
also a good topic.
And that's my minor.
So you're telling Gabriella topics right now. You're saying nano and batteries and what was the last one?
Catalysis.
Catalysis.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Those
I-
are always hot topics, but you
Yeah.
really have to find a specific group. So
But then if
But are these all great lines of investigation? Because that's what she wants to know.
what do you mean by
grade
that?
is has
I
to
don't
be
know,
like a
she said-
specific problem. Like, for example, choose yourself a problem. Like, I don't know, try to capture the oil spots on the ocean, and then go figure out how to do that. You know, it's like, what would be do you want us to tell us like a specific idea or something like that?
Well, I think she just says what could be a great line of investigation. Like, what could be? She's in her, like, for a project. She has to do a project. So I don't think she's going to go out into the oil fields, Vika.
Well, you can still make a concept of a project, then, like, pour some oil into, I don't know, bathtub, and then try to, you know, you can always do something.
No, but, like, for your first project, like, I would...
Yes, nanotechnology is great.
Don't try to... Yay! Nano!
No,
but how would she do that as a project?
No, but like for your first project,
if
you think nanotechnology is great, I would say find a group within
or
it.
a company or like industry that has some research on that, and just try to learn what you can do with nanoparticles.
And if you're gonna ask a group about if you can join them for a project, like read up on their publications and on the data first, so you can like come with some input, like, hey, I read this article, I'm in my first year of chemical engineering, I'm super interested in nanotechnology, and I found your approach in this paper to be amazing, and do you have a project to offer?
Yeah, I guess they will offer you something simple.
Yeah.
Since you're still in the first year, so I guess don't jump over your head. So just don't be super ambitious. Try to learn something that will be useful and interesting and not like super complicated.
And that's why I feel like you should go for something that you like.
Yeah.
Because if you go for something that's just very trending and you're actually not interested in it, then it will become tough quite fast.
And just don't challenge yourself too much.
So, can you give her some other, like, cool topics then, other than nano?
Like, what's in chemical engineering, what brings the most money, I would say, is process optimization. So that's programming. And then you have a great opportunity to learn softwares like ChemCAD and Aspen Plus.
That's awesome. Do it and do your first project in programming.
That's
good. That's very
really
basic
good
skill that is super useful even for me as a chemist, not chemical engineer.
Ooh,
yes,
like
that's very. I mean, I did some projects also in calculations, like quantum physics.
No, don't listen to her. She's in chemistry. But like,
that's what I'm saying. But
if you want to be in chemical engineering, learn ChemCAD and Aspen Plus, because those are the fundamental programs that all process industry uses, and you need that for process optimization.
She's so
I'm just saying,
bad.
I needed those basics when I was doing the project. For example, how to work with the shell scripts or stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like those basic stuff that you just need it sometimes. So
yeah,
go
no,
for
I mean,
that's
I think...
very useful.
I'm like talking to you like a dog.
We're just reacting to a 10-second
delay of the live
stream.
Yeah. But I guess we're both so excited.
Yeah.
Because
that's
it's so
a
fun.
very good topic. I think we found the topic. It's
so fun to do projects. Like, you know, when you're in school, you have classes, and then you get a project, and you're like,
yes. Yeah, no.
I really like projects.
But anyway, we're approaching...
Don't do a literature study, because that sucks.
Yeah, don't do a literature study.
What do you mean? Literature study is always good.
But
your background.
We're approaching the 1 hour mark of our live stream.
How many?
4. We're approaching the 1 hour. No problem, Gabriella.
Happy to help.
So much feelings.
So we're approaching the 1 hour mark of our podcast. So I think it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Let us know if you think that vlogging or not, like live streaming at the same time with the podcast is a good idea. Because then the podcast is hard to.
It's hard to like concentrate on both, but
I
feel
like
it's fine.
I think the podcast people don't see what I did to Vika here when I interrupted her. I literally put my hand over her face, like I'm gonna block your words.
Yeah, I think it's also fun. Yeah. So, but let us know if you have any thoughts.
Let us know.
All our 4 viewers, please. each opinion matters and counts.
Yeah. So thank you very much,
Gabriella. I just want to say I hope you got somewhat an answer and somehow,
or just some entertainment on a Sunday night, or not night, depends where you go.
Yeah, I think in Mexico it's not the night.
It's afternoon.
Anyway, if you have any more questions for Ask an Engineer, you can submit them to our email, steminvlog@gmail.com, or on Facebook, or on, and I guess,
Instagram?
iTunes. Write a review, write your question there.
Yeah.
Instagram. Did I say Facebook?
Actually,
Yes.
I got another advice for Gabrielle.
Okay,
Ask older students where they did their projects. Because you might be super interested in something, but then the prof there is horrible.
But I guess people kind of know. So students kind of know. There's tendency that students around know which group is interesting or not. So just just go
ask
out
them.
and communicate with people. Yeah.
So once again, guys, we're approaching our 1 hour mark. So if you have any more questions, let us know. If you like our podcast, then please subscribe, rate, and review. 5 out of 5 stars. Nothing else will be accepted.
It's morning.
Oh, okay. Well, good morning then.
Oh yeah, like there's a, yeah, okay.
Couldn't
I'm
figure
gonna have
that
to cut this out of the podcast. Yeah, thank you for listening to our STEMinine podcast. I'm Jess.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Vika. What?
And you are listening to STEMinine.
I'm Vika. What do you expect?
Do you expect me to become someone else during the podcast?
Bye around the global. Have a happy new year. Merry Christmas. We'll go back to live streaming after the holidays. Before the holidays, we're just going to upload more interviews. Our first interview. Good morning, Gabriella. I'm happy you got some good info from my chemistry friends here. I hope everything was helpful, and we're going to sign off now.
Fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We hope it was actually fun in the first place. Like, entertaining, I guess, no?
Yeah, I mean, we hope this was valuable. Like, we hope this added some value to your life.
Or even if it doesn't add value, at least maybe you were, like, sad or something like that.
But that's value.
I hope you're procrastinating.
Okay.
I hope
English is not their
them.
first language.
What do you mean? I mean, I can guess.
Go back to studying. That should be our sign-off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Okay, guys, go back to
Cheers.
studying.
Ciao.
We will do another live stream
Arrivederci.
soon. Oh, and then we should say bye in all of our languages.
Hero.
So, salut, goodbye,
Hero.
Buvajte.
and
I
say it
don't
in
know.
Russian.
Da.
Пока.
Пока.
До свидания.
You can say that.
Okay, до свидания, goodbye, and salut.
And we didn't learn
I
that.
said Swedish. Hero. Hero. Hero.
Okay.
Okay, ciao.
How do we turn this off?
Look, we streamed for almost an hour.
We're crazy.
Yeah.
Peak. People watching. But we got questions. I'm so happy by that.
It's still gonna be 10 seconds.
I'd rather have someone watching than having like someone asking than having like 20 people watching without asking.
Stop streaming. Don't worry, it's still going.
You might be signed out, and you cannot stop it because you're signed out. I'm not. This is not a joke. This could be happening right now. I think we're still on because you have to.
Oh my god, we are so.
No, but I mean, I could stop it here.
Then it's just gonna be black screen, and people will think we're like stupid.
Please stop it.
Adios. Aww.
Ciao.
Okay, fine. Reload.
That's the decision.
Okay, we're just having some technical difficulties trying to end the stream, so you can just like leave and go watch PewDiePie or Jenna Marbles.
Do they pay you for promoting? Why do you promote them?
No, because I love Jenna Marbles.
Did you know that PewDiePie also studied as an engineer?
Yeah, but
started.
he dropped out.
See, he
studied-
dropped out, and
he
where
studied-
he is? Huh?
He studied with my friend.
See,
He was really weird.
see, Elizabeth knows you.
He had no friends.
Come to our stream, PewDiePie.
I recently just discovered PewDiePie. He's
Really?
hilarious. Yeah, stop streaming.